What's going on, guys? So April has been an unusually busy month for us.
Super busy, man.
A lot of travels, road trips, New York Auto Show, press events, just everything packed into 1 month. We've barely been home.
I've been home for like 4 or 5 days or something.
I think I might be able to catch up a little bit sometime in May, but we'll see. Today we're actually in Johnson City, Tennessee, visiting the home of Borla Exhaust, primarily because of this guy.
Yeah. I've got a 2006 Porsche Cayman S. I really want to put an exhaust on it. You've had three Borla exhaust systems. They all sound really good. I was like, man, I want to put a Borla on my car. So here we are.
I thought this would be a pretty cool road trip because we're actually on our way to Nashville, Tennessee to attend a press event for the new Nissan Rogue Sport. And this was on the way. I was like, hey, you're already interested in the exhaust, you're planning on getting it, why don't we just go to HQ, see how the exhausts are made, and just make a cool trip out of it. So the folks at Borla were more than gracious to host us for a couple days and give us a full factory tour. And that's what we're gonna do for this video, to give you guys an in-depth look at how the exhausts are made, because it's a pretty fascinating process. Wow. This facility is massive. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Without further ado, let's go ahead and head on inside and get started. All right, guys, so we're in the back warehouse at Borla. This is basically where the exhaust production begins and ends. There's a team of people that knows exactly what exhausts and how many it needs to be produced every single week, so they're constantly prepping and getting all of the kits and stuff together for the exhaust assembly, like the hangers and everything, but also the cardboard, the packaging, everything that you need to actually complete the whole package. So before we head to the manufacturing floor, I wanted to show you guys this behind me because it's pretty awesome. These are the fixtures for every single exhaust that Borla currently makes. And what the fixture is, it's basically used all throughout the manufacturing process to test fitment, so quality and precision stays consistent as it goes down the line. The fixture is actually made during the R&D process. You have test pipes here that are taken out, and then you put the exhaust that you're actually making in, and as long as everything aligns right, then it's good to go. All right, now that we're on the manufacturing floor, Chris and I are gonna walk you guys through the process of what it takes to make one of these exhausts, because it's a pretty cool process to see in person. It's all done by hand. All of Borla's exhausts are made of 304 grade stainless steel. They're coming in rolls and sticks. The sticks are absolutely huge. Basically, the sticks go ahead and get cut back here so they're a bit more manageable as they travel through the production line. Then the rolls are sent right behind us where they start doing the stampings. So at this station, the rolls are cut into different size plates depending on the size of the mufflers they're making. The plates are then sent over to the next station where they start embossing all the logos.
So once the plates are stamped, they come over here where they're rolled into cans. They're TIG welded over here, and then they come this way.
So this machine right here will actually take the cans TIG welded and then put a continuous weld across the top so it's nice and smooth and secure. So once the welds are completed, it moves over to the die. This is where the initial muffler assembly takes place. At this point, it's just a big can, cylindrical tube, and it has the embossed logo. For the assembly process, you basically take an end cap, put it down, then you put the can on top. Depending on the style of muffler, they'll put different cores inside to change the sound characteristics. At that point, this machine will actually compress the can into the desired shape. After that, everything's done, sealed up with an end cap, then it moves on to the next station for the final welding. Back here is where they make all of the small parts to assemble the mufflers. The end caps that we just showed you guys a second ago, they make all of those in-house. Again, depending on the size of the muffler, you have different sized end caps. If they need anything else, as far as like internals and stuff, they also make those back here.
So like we mentioned in the beginning of the video, where all of the exhausts that are manufactured have fixtures that they have to fit into, every single internal piece that goes inside of all of the mufflers have fixtures that they have to fit into as well. It's another way for them to make sure that everything time and time again is perfectly done.
All of the booths behind me is where some of the more intricate work starts to come into play. Once the small pieces are done, they're put into bins, organized, then they're picked from, so people can start working on forming the internals and the core pieces for the mufflers. Okay, so here the mufflers are finally coming into their own. Here you have a bunch of stations where you have a bunch of different folks actually putting the final welds to it to make a sealed structure. So all the way across the side, it's all done at this stage. Then the mufflers are sent over and the final exhaust assembly begins.
Alright, so I'm pretty sure you will agree with me, this is like our favorite spot in the entire production area.
This is cool.
There's so much going on back here, it's sick.
Especially this mandrel bender. So all the sticks that are cut back there, like we talked about a second ago, they end up right here. So when they start assembling the exhaust systems, this big old machine will actually move and twist the pipes and everything to the desired shapes. It's insane, especially like when it pulsates, you can feel the force through the concrete
in the
floor.
ground. It's crazy.
But it makes it effortless. You know how hard steel is?
See, it bends it like it's like
a Twizzler. After the tubes are shaped, the excess material is cut off the mufflers, then the edges are deburred to get off any rough material. Before being welded to the actual mufflers, the pipes are expanded and notched. Expanding the pipes actually brings one end a little wider so another end of the pipe can fit in nice and snug. The notching is what you would see. It looks like a little section is cut out of the expanded portion. That allows them to actually expand the metal, but when you install the pipes, put the clamp on and tighten it up, those open sections will actually come down and create that tight seal.
Alright, so as you can see here, the mufflers, the tubing, the tips, and the hangers are placed inside these fixtures and they're clamped down. They're welded and then they head over to the cleaning table.
After the welding station, the exhaust is brought over to the cleaning station to take care of some of the little details and the final deburring.
Hey, this is the last step, right?
Nope.
What? What else is there to do?
Final packaging.
Oh, nice.
Alright, so now the final process is just package assembly. So the exhaust is all done, quality assurance has been done, everything is ready to go. Now, just gotta put it in the box and put in all the important stuff like instruction manual, hat, and all that cool stuff that I talked about earlier. Once it's all done, it's sealed up and then it goes out for delivery. Alright guys, so now we're heading back to the R&D section at Borla. This is where they do their initial research, planning, and design work for the exhaust. Without it, none of what you just saw was possible. So when they're doing the initial R&D process, they're also building the fixtures, so by the time production time starts, it's ready to go. Like, for example, this is the one that they're making for the 2017 Ford Raptor. I'm going to talk about the R&D process a little bit more in a separate video, but I wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of the process. Basically, what you see behind me is my 1989 Nissan 240SX Resto Mod project. I recently announced that I'm going to be doing a complete rebuild and upbuild, I guess you can say, of a RB25, so it's going to be a really cool project when it's done. If you haven't checked it out, I put some links in the description box below. What's up?
Man, it looks good underneath there.
Yeah. If you don't already know, the exhaust fell off of this car when we were driving down I-95 on the way to film the engine unveil video. So it's currently running no exhaust. It was very cool when it first happened, but now it's extremely annoying, and when the windows are up, it's absolutely deafening.
Deafening is not a strong enough word.
It's awful. So the reason the car is on the lift is that David Borla heard it a little while ago when we were hanging out for a bit, and he was like, that's not gonna work.
No go.
So he offered to go ahead and throw up a temporary setup, and we're gonna get to see some of the R&D process when it comes to test fitting the different links and bending them and how all that stuff works basically. So I'm really excited. So that's what we're gonna show in that separate video, because I also am doing a dyno of the car, so we're gonna find out how much power the car still makes after all these years and with no exhaust. So that's pretty gnarly. We've already heard it today. It's ludicrous.
Ridiculous.
Earplugs ahoy. Something else that's going to be really cool coming down the line. So in the summertime, after the engine is put in, we're actually going to be working with Borla to develop a custom exhaust for this car for an RB Swap 240. So I know that RB is going to sound good, and I can't wait to collaborate with Borla to actually bring this car really to life
after they get their hands on it.
Do justice to that RB. So the R&D process is very intricate and can be a very time-consuming process depending on the level of sound and quality you're trying to achieve, because it's relatively easy to just make your car loud, but to balance everything and make sure everything works as a whole when it comes to balancing harmony, reducing drone, it's very technical.
Too much for my brain to comprehend, so I'm like...
We were actually talking with David Borla earlier, because I've always wondered about the drone factor, because that's something that Borla is very proud of, is that they try to eliminate the drone in their exhaust. So when you're actually looking at the design of the mufflers and the cores that they put inside, not even, it could be Touring, Attack, S-Type, it doesn't matter, but you know, the way the cores are designed, they actually can emit a frequency within the muffler that counteracts the drone. So drone is still there, but the frequency of the core that's being emitted actually counteracts the drone and eliminates it.
How do you figure that out, man?
I don't know. So basically, after they test fit pipes and tack weld them in place, they bring it down, they go ahead and make a solid pipe and begin sound testing and do all the final adjustments from there. Again, I'm going to show all of that process when it comes to the 240. When that video is live, I'll put the link to it in the description box below and in the top right-hand corner of the video. So that wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did.
It was so sick being able to see all like the behind the scenes stuff here at Borland, man.
Oh,
it was,
yeah.
Like, so gnarly.
And seeing so many people take pride in what they do and in American manufacturing.
America.
Just an awesome experience. Be sure to stay tuned. Next Friday, we have the exhaust install on Porsche Cayman. Be sure to stay tuned because next Friday I'm going to have the exhaust install video on Chris's Cayman, and it turned out awesome. You guys are not going to want to miss that, especially with the before and after dyno shots.
It was crazy.
Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe today. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone.